right, and I think we're live.
Earlier today, one of the largest channels covering the Depp versus Heard trial, LegalBytes, came under fire for allegations that she is hiding the truth and copyright striking channels who are posting her apology Let's Talk video, with even some going as far to accuse her as being no better than Amber Heard, trying to silence any and all opposition. But is this really the case? Let's find out. A quick rundown for those unaware is that during the recent high-profile trials, particularly the ongoing defamation trials, a group of lawyers have been live streaming the events with what some people are trying to call Lawtube and kind of forming a group around it. Like with any situation combining fans, money, and so-called friends, drama reared its ugly head, particularly between one of the biggest players, LegalBytes, and the on-the-ground reporter DUiguy, a much smaller channel who's been trying to get into the gallery for the events and then report back on a LegalBytes stream. But then the drama happened. During a particularly spicy take during the court case, he committed the most heinous of sins, making a funny face, and this caused to a fallout leading him not being allowed on the stream that day. Apparently, after paying $4,000 to get his spot in the line, he was slightly miffed, understandably so. So yes, this is really what actually started the drama, leading to the Let's Talk video being posted, which we are going to watch in just a moment. After the apology video was posted, everyone seemed to be made up and the drama was going to go away, but then the video became private, which confused some people, and led to it being re-uploaded as a sort of a copy of it. So here we have some evidence to show that LegalBytes did in fact copyright strike the Let's Talk LegalBytes re-upload video. The takedown was issued by LegalBytes Media, and it can no longer be played. LegalBytes did respond to this saying, "I'll just say this once, please look at the notice closely. Notice it says re-upload. It is not a commentary video, it is an upload of the video itself. Plain and simple. There are plenty of commentary videos out there, and they remain on YouTube untouched." Allegation from one person is that LegalBytes is trying to erase the past. LegalBytes says that that's not the case. So how do we test this? Well, I'm going to review the video myself right now, and if it gets taken down, then you'll know the truth. So let's get started.
So, there are many people that I have talked to in the last, I don't know how many hours, who have advised me not to say or do anything, or if I do, to do something in a very, very, very closely guarded kind of way.
And that's great advice. And another great advice is that when you're reviewing a video is to actually inject commentary like I'm doing right now. And this sort of situation is pretty understandable, actually, in my opinion. LegalBytes rose to fame very quickly. I'm not exactly sure because I didn't really follow her at all very much, but I believe that she was under about 100,000 subscribers, maybe around 30, 40,000, I want to say, until these recent prominent court cases. And then she's risen up to, I believe, 200,000, probably 300,000 now. So one thing happens is that people get a lot of fame very quickly, is they sometimes don't know how to deal with it. And this is, I think, what led to this situation. So let's continue.
I'm not really sure exactly how I am where I am right now, but I guess the first thing that I want to do is to say that today I came to realize that I've said some things in a couple different ways that have come across in a way that is not the way that I intended. And
yeah, and this also is sort of thing is when you've kind of feel like you got a bit of a spotlight on you, which I think she does at the moment. Kind of the rundown, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that DUiguy made a kind of a funny face, like kind of a shock face in the courtroom after one of the lawyers was accused of being like a gold digger or fame digger or something, you know. And the problem was that LegalBytes was thinking that it kind of seems like we're sending people into the gallery and they're going to affect the jury's decision. The jury, of course, is, you know, understandably they might be bored or they might be looking at the reactions of other people in the courtroom. And if people start making the shocked face or the soy face or, you know, the reaction face that you see, then they're going to think, wow, this is a big deal. I better be paying attention. And that might bias or influence them in some way. Personally, I don't think this is the case because there's a lot of people in the courtroom and they're going to react. They're human beings. We're all human beings. And it was a pretty big spicy take, actually, by I believe it was TMZ reporter. And it's understandable, I think. So I think this was a bit of an overreaction on LegalBytes' side. She probably definitely could have handled it better. Just deal with it personally, you know, maybe in a phone call or something. She kind of just sent a DM to him saying like, hey, your behavior is like not okay. Well, I'm not sure if she actually said that, but, you know, basically she said, we can't have you on the stream today and we can talk about it, you know, at some other time, and basically excluding him from the group. And kind of an issue is that all of these Lawtubers is what people are starting to call them, kind of congregate around certain channels. They all stream on each other's channels, but there's a few really big ones. And we're talking about Ricada Law, Emily DeBaker, and of course Legal Bytes. She's probably the second largest in this case, I believe, even though her subscriber count maybe not as large as the others. Let's go on.
Clearly not received well. And I understand.
Yeah, I'm pausing it again because, yeah, the community that is interested in this case and interested in these lawyers are really, really taking this seriously. It's like not a 50-50 split, but there are so many angry people and there's so many noisy angry people, and they're just like, oh, this is drama, and to me, I find this to be like a very, what's the word? High school drama. It seems like, the friends are falling out there. It seems very petty to me. But I mean, here we are. These people, you have to remember, are making thousands of dollars and they're getting hundreds of thousands of views. Fame is an addictive drug, and you don't want to lose it.
Why some things have not been received well. I don't have any excuses for the way that I've come across to some people. But the one thing that I would request, if people will allow me, is a little bit of space to explain things from my perspective.
And that's really fair, to be honest. Like she's doing her best, and this is kind of a time sensitive thing. Like you may be thinking that the newspaper's going to, start contact you, and like there's a bit of a spotlight on you. I think personally you don't have to worry about it, but if you do look at things like the adpocalypse, there was you're always kind of fearful of that sort of thing. Like you don't want to be the person who kind of ruins it for everybody. And I guess they kind of felt like they had some sort of authority or some grouping because they're all, on these live streams together. But she generally seems sincerely sorry. And of course you would be because she started to lose a bunch of subscribers, and that's going to translate to money down the line. But also just because it's kind of a really hard situation. Like you don't want to exclude someone, but you can't really include them at the same time. It's sticky. It's not what you want to be. And she genuinely seems sad about that. And I believe that.
I feel like there's been a lot of communication from other people. I don't know. I don't want to do anything.
She probably shouldn't have. Well, firstly, she probably should have spoken to DIY, in person or over the phone at least, not just a DM before the stream started. And secondly, she shouldn't have posted this video, in my opinion. She should have just laid low for a little bit and kind of just ignored it. I think by putting out this video and addressing it, it kind of just gave more fuel to the fire. I mean, that's why I'm doing this video now, isn't it? If she didn't do that, then I couldn't have done that.
Last 6 weeks have been a lot, you guys. Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of work, a lot. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to tell you, I have some notes here. I hope that no one's offended.
That is impossible. It's impossible for people not to be offended on the internet, and especially people interested in this trial. They are rabid fans for both Johnny, rabid fans for Amber. Less of them at the moment, it seems, because it looks like Johnny's doing very well, and rabid fans for YouTube celebrities. So it's impossible not to piss people off, be honest.
Anyhow, I understand there's been a lot of communication around all of my channels. That's been abundantly clear to me.
It's funny because there's like this sort of network of all the Lawtubers. If you go into the chat, and I can't really follow the chat because there's so many people, and there's like 10,000 people in the chat. Who can follow that? But you start saying like, what's your take on legal bytes? What's your take on blah blah blah? They want to get everyone from the law community. I don't want to really call it Lawtube, but it's kind of a good name actually. It kind of fits. But yeah, everybody's talking about it. It's like this drama is just addictive to people.
There are people that are unhappy with some things that I've said, and I understand that. I guess just to sort of like back up and give some context, what I'd like to do is kind of talk about some things. And by the way, I know that there's been a lot of, this is not monetized, is all I'll say. None of this is monetized. There's no super chats. There's no super stickers or anything here.
I kind of feel like that's unnecessary to even do. Like, I can understand why you do that, not monetizing it. Then you don't have to worry about people accusing you of just putting out this video just for the monetization. But it's kind of not even true in any case. You may as well put ads on it just because you are trying to protect your money. you don't really think about it like that. But you're trying to protect your career, your base, your supporters, and that translates to money down the line. So, I mean, we all do it, right? Like, even if you're protecting a friendship, it's kind of protecting an investment, not like a monetary investment, but investment of time, an investment of resources, investment of emotion. It's all the same, really.
Anyhow, this channel has grown a lot in the last 2 months, like by about 200,000 subscribers. I recognize that.
Well, there you go. She's just said it herself. 200,000 subscribers over 6 weeks, I believe. That is an insane growth. People are just coming out of nowhere on this trial. It's crazy. I think, I don't think it was DUI guy, but maybe Lauren Lumber. Just first video goes up to like 1 million views or something. It's people really into this case.
The vast majority of people that are on this channel are very new. They may not know me that well. I've hoped that throughout the process of this trial, I hope that I've been coming across sincerely, but I also know that there are times in all of the hours of live streaming and recording videos and recaps and all that stuff that I'm not always going to be carrying myself in the way that I would like to.
It kind of makes me think of something interesting, actually, is when you think about quick fan bases. Like, there's a lot of big players in this sphere at the moment, and like, for example, let's take Ricada Law. I like to watch his streams, check them out almost every day, and he's got a very loyal fan base, and he built this fan base over a long time. It's not something he just gained overnight. It's been like maybe 3-4 years at this point, and it doesn't. The fans that stick around they're gonna have your back no matter what. But if you get about 200,000 subscribers over, say, 6 weeks, how many of those people are there for the drama? How many people are there because it's the hot thing? And how many people really like you? And my thinking is that these people that come really quickly will leave really quickly as well. And that's kind of why her community, in my opinion, is much more volatile than, say, someone else's like Ricada Law or Emily DeBaker.
With all that hard work that's been coming in the last couple of months, there's been a lot of growth in the channel, which means that there's been a lot of new attention, a lot of positive attention, which is great, and some negative attention. There's been a lot about,
that's one thing with when you're putting yourself out there on the internet, though, you have to be concerned. Well, not you don't have to be concerned, but that's not the right word. But one thing is you have to have a thick skin online. It doesn't matter how pure your intentions, how beautiful you are, how talented you are. If there's one person on the internet that likes you, there's one person on the internet that hates you. And I think in Alita's case, of course, she's very beautiful. Let's be frank, and that means she's going to attract a lot of people really quickly, and that means she's going to attract a lot of not strange, but a certain type of person, and that will take pleasure in seeing someone successful and beautiful fall. Like, we almost love to see people fall as much as we love to see them succeed. It's just a human nature. So there are people that'll jump on the bandwagon and get their sticks and pitchforks ready immediately just to see blood in the water. And I think that's probably a lot of what's coming from this case. There's 2 people that kind of had a bit of a falling out, and there's about 300,000 people that just want to see blood, no matter what it is.
You guys have seen articles about trial streaming of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial. Criticisms about that it's like disrespectful of DV claims and of this one in particular.
I don't really think that's true. So there are publications saying that, these YouTubers, they're making so much money streaming the Johnny Depp trial. This is outrageous. Asmongold is making millions of dollars streaming the Johnny Depp trial. That's what the media companies that are saying this are the same people who are reporting on the case themselves. They're all trying to make money. They're all reporting on it because they know people care about it. Like, news is never, I hate it when I see news agencies that are like, these Lawtubers, they're making so much money. You should listen to CNN. We're the good guys. No, you're all just trying to make money. It's all about advertising. Come on. Don't. But it's kind of funny that because YouTube is like a new media, and then you're going up against the old media, but YouTubers will always say like, oh, we don't care about old media. But the second that old media says something naughty about them, they're always like, oh, we're sorry, old media. Please, we're good. Please don't say something mean to us. So I feel like this is a bad take from Legal Bytes at the moment.
And the There's criticism that, like, you know, is turning the courtroom into clickbaity circuses and that kind of stuff. So I've been very
I mean, it is. It is a clickbaity circus. Just look at it. It's insane. We've never seen anything like this. You've got someone with such charisma, Johnny Depp, and then you've got Amber Heard.
very sensitive to that kind of thing throughout this whole process. And I haven't always been very successful in my delivery on stuff, but at the same time, I hope that it has been clear at times that I'm always trying to learn as I go. Anyhow,
I'm not. Just before she says what she's going to say, I think that's kind of one of the challenges for her is that a lot of the other really popular Lawtubers like Ricada Law have a very spicy personality, and they're doing very well on YouTube, and well on the way to being millionaires at this point. And I think this is just my impression. Sorry, I was going to say impersonation. I can't impersonate her. I need to be blonde for that. But I think she wants to be like a proper lawyer kind of person. She wants to be seen. She wants to present herself, which is nothing wrong with that. But then you kind of you associate with Ricada, who's doing the daily unbreaded. He's putting some spicy words out there, and you kind of. I think they're friends. I definitely think they're friends, and I think they like each other. But I'm sure she probably doesn't agree with a lot of what he does, and you kind of just have to kind of go along with it when you're small because that's the only way to grow. So I'm not saying that she's a clout chaser or anything. Absolutely not. I mean, she wants to be successful. She's collaborating. That's what you do. And I do think she's friends with the other Lawtubers, but I feel like she wishes they presented themselves a bit more prestigiously, like a lawyer should. But that's so boring. I don't like that sort of lawyer. That's a legal sort of, suit and haircut style lawyer. You know what I mean?
With all that attention, I have always been very worried about mistakes that can possibly be weaponized. Because, I already said there's been articles and stuff, and that mentioned Lawtube and that throw shade around these various
Who cares? It's all mean girl stuff. The old media wants you to fail so that they can succeed. People will criticize you because people love to criticize. Just ignore it. You got to ignore everything. Just do what you're doing. If what you're doing is right and it's not illegal and you're making money from it, then fuck them. It's fine.
trial streams. And I see the growth of Lawtube and I'm so thrilled about it. I'm so happy about it. And, like we've got new channels that are popping up and just like growing out of nowhere, and seeing so many of our friends getting to over 100,000 subscribers. I'm one of them. Like I before I started covering this trial, I was at like literally like 43,000.
Okay, I wasn't too far off. I thought she was around 30, 40,000 first time I saw her. Yeah, good for her. She's capitalized on a really good situation for her. She knew it was coming because I remember they were talking about it coming up, and that's what you got to do. You find something you're good at, which she's good at this. Find something that's important, which this is, and find something people are interested in, and which this definitely is. So, yeah, kudos to her. Good job.
Subscribers, and I'm so happy to like be there and see a lot of my friends, see these same things. Anyhow, I see where Lawtube is going, and I see that there are people that are threatened by the growth of Lawtube.
So I think she's just thinking about like TMZ and particularly Law and Crime Network on YouTube. They want to kind of be the big players in the scene. And yeah, they're definitely threatened by these people.
And I've always been very worried about the ways in which that can be weaponized. And so that has made me very protective of Lawtube at the same time. The branding, if you will, reputation.
So the branding, that's something I don't really like. I think putting a brand on it, making it into a solid thing just means you're getting attacked for it. It's just, you're an individual person making YouTube videos. What more is there to say? Just say that like, I'm in the law sector of YouTube. That's it. It's not like some magical creature.
And as things have grown and more people have come onto the panels, I've been so excited because when I first started streaming, I didn't know if anyone was going to join me. I didn't know if anyone was going to be watching. I've just been so thrilled. I've been so happy with how people have been wanting to join in. And when we started making contact with people in the courtroom to get live updates from the jury, that was like the best thing ever because
Yeah, that was. It's so simple, but just having that sort of presence was really made this so interesting, and they got that new unique take. And the big guys, the media companies, started copying them. They had to because they realized there was a better wheel, basically.
I I was excited to be able to get that kind of insight because there's something missing that you don't quite get when you're live streaming a trial and as opposed to being in the courtroom itself. Anyhow, when we did start.
You know what? I just noticed you had a sub counter up here. I could have accurately told you what the sub count was from the very start. I guess I'm not very observant sometimes. It is hidden in the bokeh though, so
making contact with folks in the courtroom, then people from Lawtube wanted to go and start going in there and observing themselves and coming back and telling us. And it's been wonderful. It's been really great. There are rules in the courtroom too.
It's kind of the way that she said that. I kind of feel like she still disapproves of the actions of DUI, which again was making a funny face. Now the question was, did he do that on purpose? Like you do have to have a certain level of decorum in a courtroom. Was he making it to get a reaction, get that that face grab for his thumbnails? We can't know, but I will say that everyone in the courtroom kind of reacted the same way. So it happens. Sometimes it's involuntary. You can't control when you laugh.
Mentioned that, and I know that the thing that I said before was not well received. And it wasn't a good message. The way that I came across was not good. I knew it when I was coming off of that message and into the last live stream. I knew it, and I instantly wanted to like redo that message and like make another one because I knew it wasn't right. But there's always this idea that like if you do something too many times, make too many statements, you start running into problems.
Yeah, that's kind of like when you're doing a test. You should really go with your first thought is always a good way. Like if you're looking at multiple choice and you think one is the right answer, but then you overthink it, you can actually get the wrong answer a lot easier. So it's better to just go with your first instinct. Unfortunately, I think writing the message wasn't her first instinct here. I think the first instinct was knowing it was a bad message to send. And, she regretted it afterwards. So her instinct was right. She should have just maybe deleted it and said, let's talk after the stream in person. But then again, it puts DUI guy in a kind of a bad situation if he did actually pay $4,000. And it's this is his exposure. Like he's not making the channel, he's not making the videos at that time. He's there in the courtroom. He's risking his own time, hoping to benefit in some way. And to take that away from him it's a blow. It's a blow.
Anyway, I'm already whatever. So the thing that I was trying to get across earlier, let me go back. Let me just go back before I get to that. I was starting to hear things that were concerning to me. And folks.
Why should she be concerned about it? She's not in control of the other people. If she said to DUI guy, don't go to the courtroom, he's still going to go. He just wouldn't come into her live stream. He'd go on, Ricado's or someone's. So I feel like it's kind of an artificial sense of authority. And in some way you can say that she kind of earned it because she got that, she's like the hub where they all hang out. But you should never be guilty for someone else's actions. These people chose to go to the courtroom. They chose to react that way. It's not her responsibility.
That are connected to us in some ways. And I panicked. I will be honest. I panicked. And I sent a DM that is like I sent some hastily typed
hasty DMs are the cause of a lot of the world's problems these days.
Typed DMs in the middle of live streaming when I'm admittedly very tired. Those DMs could have been drafted much better.
That is also something you should probably keep in mind, though, as these court cases have been going on for 6 weeks and they're streaming upwards of 10 hours a day, and then they're doing all the other stuff they've got to do in their life. These people are tired. So I think that in some circumstances you can give them some slack for that. Obviously, you're still responsible for your actions, no matter what. It's not an excuse. You get in a car, you drink, you get in a car, you run over someone. You can't say I was drunk because you chose to drink. It's the same kind of thing. You chose to kind of do these late hours to get the exposure, and then you should be responsible for your actions still. But, wherever you can give them a little bit of leeway, like, yeah, they're tired. Yeah. But that should be really between the two parties, not between us.
I understand that those have been taken as condescending. And I get it. I can see that. When I send a DM, I usually hope that that is taken as a DM. I had hoped that that would be a one-on-one conversation. I never expected.
That's why phone calls are better, because unless the other person is recording it, which is kind of a dick move unless you tell the other person, there's less evidence to post to other people. And DMs, because you can't tell the intonation, the attitude, it's just so easily to be misconstrued as, being a bitch or whatever, is what people are. That's not my opinion. I don't think she is. But that's what people on the DUI guy side of this drama are saying, like, oh, she's so condescending, she thinks she's the queen, and that's not my opinion, actually. But, that's what people are saying.
A DM to become a public conversation.
It is true. It is lame to share DMs. It's very frustrating for everyone involved. At the same time, DUI guy is there to boost his career, just as she's doing these live streams to boost her career. And if that action is going to boost his career, and she's given it to him, and she's taken something else away, well, that puts him in a very interesting situation, doesn't it?
I just wanted a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, then you probably should have messaged her, said, hey, let's talk about the trial after the live stream.
Next thing I knew, I'm getting tweets and DMs coming my way about an insinuation on another live stream about somebody getting banned, or uninvited, expressly uninvited from a Lawtube live stream. And
well, what they say is that the truth, what is it? No, a lie can make it twice around the world before the shoot. Jesus, I'm tired. I've been doing live streams too, guys. You got to forgive. No, it's just because I'm sleepy and I haven't had my coffee. The truth, a lie can go halfway around the world before the truth can put on its shoelaces.
I got concerned because I didn't want to have to talk about anything publicly. I didn't want to have to do anything like that. So what happened was I did what I normally like to do in real life and address it head on. And the statement that I made was not the one that I wanted to make, not the one that I envisioned in my head. And I'm sorry for that. I apologize. I really do.
Never apologize to a community like this. Always apologize individually to people you've wronged if you have done something wrong, but don't apologize to a faceless crowd. That's just silly.
There were things that I said. I know. I've seen some of the commentary from folks, saying things like, you didn't send them. I get it. I know. I'm very well aware, guys. I have never intended to come across like I'm somehow taking accomplishments for anybody else. I would have hoped that people would understand that at this point after so much time in these live streams. But I can understand why people would read it that way. I can. And I understand that the folks are going to these folks are going into the courtroom on their own, by their own volition. And I
love that word though, volition.
I get that. I'm not one to take credit for it. One of those guys that was in the courtroom there was also with me on that live stream. And by the way, I also
kind of again, I just don't believe in guilt by association. It seems just kind of silly. I kind of wonder if she felt like she was more worried about herself getting in trouble than the other people involved. And that's kind of where even if it's subconscious, you think like, oh no, if one of my friends does something, the whole group is going to get in trouble. So, you've got to protect your source of income. That's just the easiest way of saying it. You don't think about like, oh, these guys are going to ruin my money. No, you just think like, you can just kind of feel it, like, your livelihood is threatened. And that's a very natural, very kind of animal response. And we all have it.
I don't want anyone to be giving any hate to anyone else that has been showing up on my channel. I would very much appreciate that, because I take full responsibility for my channel. I take full responsibility for the things that I say and that I do. And I don't want anyone else to be taking hits on my behalf. So the thing that I was most concerned about, talking about that statement, which I very poorly stated, and I
kind of wonder where she's going with this. I feel like there's something she wants to say, but she's worried about how it'll play. And I haven't really noticed this until just now, but when she had her eyes down like this, I thought that it was because she was, sad or ashamed, like a very natural body language. But I realize now she's actually reading from her notes. And she might have something really important there, like don't mention blah, blah, blah. So, but I guess we could never know.
Didn't thread the needle at all as to what I meant. The thing that concerned me, I didn't want to have to talk about any of this stuff publicly. The thing that concerned me is that when we have that there are rules in the courtroom for conduct, and it's not just because courtrooms are stuffy. The reasons are, a lot of them, to make sure that we don't have an impact on the jury. And when courts open up the courtroom to the public in the ways that they do.
Yeah, but I can see that, but I can see what she's saying here now. But people are people. Like, if someone farts at the wrong moment, like say on a 24-hour live stream, and the jury starts laughing, does that affect the verdict? You can say that everything affects everything if you have like a butterfly effect, but there has to be some leeway. Like, if people just have a visceral sort of reaction, like laughing, that's not a problem. If they go in there and start screaming, "Yeah, Johnny's innocent," or "I love Pirates of the Caribbean," you should be removed from court, of course. But these courts have to be open to the public so that we can be sure that nothing, untoward is going down. And a part of that is just that the people are going to say stuff, they're going to gasp, they're going to cough, and that's going to interrupt the flow.
For a case like this, there's a huge risk. There's a huge risk that the public can have an impact. And so there are these rules, and they've been strictly enforced. This judge in particular strictly enforces rules. We've seen
well, then it's the judge's responsibility to enforce them, not you.
A witness get kicked off the stand. We've seen, we've seen time limits strictly enforced. So, and this being a very important case to a lot of people, I am very sensitive to those rules.
Yeah, but again, it's going to be decided in court, and that's the judge's role. If someone loses a case because someone made a funny face in court, that's the judge's fault. That's the lawyer's fault for not enforcing the decorum rules. It's not your responsibility. And again, I kind of don't really believe this, what she's kind of saying here, like this is the actual reason. I think this is more about protecting the revenue, to be honest. And that's okay. Like, it sounds like such a mean thing to say, but it's not. It's okay to protect your source of income. We all do it every day. We need to put bread on the table.
Myself. And I try not to take myself seriously. This is why I
kind of don't believe that. I think that she does take herself a little bit seriously, and not in a bad way. It's just, let's look at it. She's a successful YouTuber. She's attractive, married, house. She's got a Nintendo Switch. What appears to be some Minnie Mouse ears. Of course you take yourself a little bit seriously.
I'll make fun of myself all the time on these streams. Like,
do you though? Like, I'm not sure if that's true. If anyone knows if she does do that. I just don't really watch her, to be honest, unless she's featuring on someone else's stream. She seems to be doing great, and I'm sure her content's very interesting. It's just that I don't have time in the day to do it. But I've never really seen her, be a goofball like some of the other characters in this whole drama have been.
I recognize that there are those that find me boring. I recognize that there are those that find me basic. That's fine. That's all fair. That's me.
Kind of reinforces my point. Like, she's playing to her strengths. if you know what I mean. And her strength doesn't really go together well with being like a goofball, like you see with some of the other characters, like most of the other male lawyers, for example, especially the ones that gravitate towards the Ricada law.
That's who I am. But I take the process seriously.
Actually, I wonder if that's kind of her real benefit. Like, she said, like, some people say she's basic, some people say she's boring or bland or whatever. But, in comedy, you do have the straight man and the fall guy. The fall guy are the wacky characters, and the straight person is there to add context, to set up the joke. And that's an important role. You shouldn't diminish yourself for that. And, some people are really good at doing it. And that's sometimes you take the role that you're not the one that you don't want, but that's best for the audience. And, like, for example, you have in wrestling, you have the heroes, and then you have the bad guys. And nobody really wants to be the bad guy, but everybody loves it when the villain is defeated by the hero. So a good villain is a thankless role. And also being a straight man, just kind of being kind of more bland, but putting more context to the scene is also another thankless role.
And when I see things and I hear things that I'm concerned about, I get protective, and I want to make sure that those things don't get tracked back to me or others.
I wonder if she's kind of subconsciously saying the same thing that I'm saying here, the protective trace back. It's protecting the bread, let's be honest. I think that's the real subconscious reason, even if she's not verbalizing it here. I think it's kind of just deeply something that we all do and that she's kind of doing now.
That are also in this space. And just to give a little bit more context, the sudden growth that happened on this channel came out of nowhere.
Must be nice too.
Seemingly. And it has resulted in getting media attention. I already talked about this. I already said this. But the thing is, like, I had this sudden panicked image in my head of like, if something,
the yellow YouTube symbol, demonetization, that's the fear.
If something were to happen, there's certain things that are taken as attention, and there are memes that have been passed around from that particular TMZ moment.
Well, there you go. Illegal memes, lock her up.
There are memes.
I was gonna stop for a bad joke, but I decided to not do it at this point. But I think you know what I was gonna say.
If something were to get out and something were to impact the jury, and the judge were to make a very strict and swift decision, there's a possibility that something like that could result in a mistrial. Imagine the absolute devastation if that were to happen in this case.
Well, to be honest, a mistrial wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I mean, it's never really. I mean, yeah, it can be good, it can be bad. But in Johnny's case, it would have been great for him. It's going to be fine. A mistrial could actually be one of the better situations. Obviously, we all want, well, not everyone, but most of us want Johnny to win. Most of us seen kind of that revealed Amber in court. But a mistrial would mean that the case is unresolved, but Johnny still has all this positive press. That would be actually a pretty good situation for me. It's better than losing, I would say. Not as good as winning, but it's better than losing. But no matter what happens, if Johnny wins, if Johnny loses, he's already won the public's eye and their opinion. He's won this case in that respect already. It doesn't matter what happens.
After all of the years of litigation that happened and all the time and money.
Yeah, and it's already been paid off because he's already won in the public eye.
And imagine if that were to get linked back to the live streams that are coming out of Lawtube.
Yeah, because then you might get demonetized. And that would be very sad. Like, honestly, that would be sad. I would feel sad for people because money is the most important thing, right?
That's a concern to me. That is a legitimate concern to me. And you can decide if you think that is BS or not. That's a concern. And I have a lot of sudden pressure on me because I suddenly have people calling me for comment on articles and things like that. And I know that there are those that are looking to take down Lawtube. Of course, because I can see where Lawtube can go, and I can see where Lawtube is going. And I have so much respect for.
The real question actually will be what happens to all these new Lawtubers when the case finishes, because there's been so much growth, but it's going to cut back so much after this case. And there might not be another case like Johnny Depp for another 5-10 years. So it's going to be interesting to see who sticks around when the money dries up, because the money is flowing at the moment like crazy, but it's not going to be like that forever. And that's just a reality of life.
Everyone else in this space. These are my brothers and sisters in Lawtube. A lot of them are like, I consider them family.
And I believe that, actually. I think she does genuinely think like that. Of course, this is ultimately a financial endeavor, but yeah, you make friends and you've got your workmates, and those people can be some of the best friends ever. When you get older, especially, it's hard to make new friends. And one of the places you do make new friends is at work and at social sport clubs, things like that. And if you're a YouTuber doing 10 hours a day in front of the computer, where else are you going to make new people? So it's great that you can find a group like like-minded individuals. So I do believe that she's sincere here.
Anyhow. I sent a DM. I didn't get a response. It worried me. But I have also
being left on red, that is. I think she's suffered enough, guys. I think she's suffered enough. Nobody should be left on red. It's a bad feeling.
Also been working at a very rapid pace in the last 6 weeks. So I didn't think too much about it until I started seeing tweets and stuff. Anyhow.
Just turn off your computer, close your eyes. Who cares? It's tweets.
The statement that I made yesterday was not the one that I pictured. And I'm sorry for that, guys.
It's kind of, I'm of two minds of this. Like, she shouldn't be apologizing to the audience because they're faceless people that you should be only apologizing to people in one-to-one situations where you can actually give and receive an apology. You apologize to your friends, your family, someone that you've wronged. Don't apologize to a crowd. It's just silly. They're just going to use it as ammo against you. So I think she's making a tactical mistake here. But I do think that she's sincere. I do think she's sorry. And not just because of the damage it's done to her channel, which is minuscule. People are saying like, oh, cancel legalbytes. And she's lost thousands of subscribers. Yeah, nobody wants to lose thousands of subscribers. But at the same time, she's gaining like 10,000 a day. It's like drop in the bucket. Like the unsubbing thing basically doesn't matter, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not the brand that I want to have. It's not the brand that I have that I
see, brands are important. It's about protecting the brand. That's what I should have said earlier.
Like to portray, that I like to be myself. Anyhow. I think I just wanted to apologize for that. I could have done it in writing. It didn't really feel right.
You kind of did, though. I mean, did she mean like pen and pencil here? She did text. That's writing, essentially. What am I saying? She's talking to the audience. No, do it on a video. That way people can react to it. It's much better.
I recognize that this is a medium that really opens me up to a lot of vulnerability. Because
ain't that the truth? That is the truth. Go away, updates.
That can be torn to shreds on a video. There were those that recommended not to do anything, and especially not in a
that was good advice.
Video. So, anyhow, I could have done this in a series of tweets, but that just didn't feel like. It just didn't feel like that would be as open. Anyhow, I do apologize. I never meant any offense to anyone. I really didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think she was doing a mean girl thing here. I think that she just kind of made the calculation in her head and said, like, look, you just did something that could damage my brand, so I don't want you coming on my show today. That's what I think her decision was and her motivation. And it wasn't, I think she genuinely felt bad about that. I think she wanted DUI guy to come on and talk like they always do, but then she thought it's just too much of a risk. And even though I believe that was the wrong decision, I think that she made it in earnest, which is important.
I guess that's all. Thanks.
Okay. Now, there are going to be people, I'm sure, in the comments that are going to be saying, wow, actually, there's probably going to be no comments because nobody's going to watch this. But if you did, and you are annoyed at the pausing and commentary, and you're like, why don't you just upload the whole video so I can watch it? No, that's illegal. Well, maybe not illegal, but it's against terms of service. That is copyright infringement, and that is the real thing here. Is that Legal Bytes was in her right to strike down TC's video. He just uploaded it with no commentary, so because he wanted to keep her exposed. So I think that TC here has no idea what the fair use actually is, and he feels like someone look at his. Let's have a look. He says, Legal Bytes Media, really? You honestly going to go and down a copyright strike and censor criticism? I really expected better from you than Amber Heard-like nonsense. Hashtag Legal Bytes, Lawtube, Johnny Depp versus Heard, just as Johnny. Oh, Jesus, my throat is getting raw. Can't believe these people do this for 12 hours a day. But yeah, this guy, he uploaded the video because he thought it was criticism, but that's not. It was her video. It's her property. The reason I'm talking now is I'm transforming it. So this is my property now. This is the difference. This video I'm uploading right now is my property. Legal Bytes can't take it down. If she wants to, she can try, and I can dispute it. But ultimately, if the terms of service are implemented correctly, she cannot do anything about this video. That's what Transformers is, because I'm taking it, I have paused it, I'm injecting my commentary, I've added these extra graphics, the pictures and things. It's now an individual new piece of work. And that's what I made this video for. To be honest, I don't care too much about the drama. I think everyone's going to get along just fine. I accept when there's probably going to be some big drama after the Depp trial ends and all the free money dries up. Then we're going to see some drama, I think, which might be more interesting. But no, this is about fair use. And this is how you make a fair use video. You have to inject yourself. You have to inject some content. You could remix it. You could make the Legal Bytes rap or something. I don't know, something stupid like that. Just change it in some way. And then you don't have to worry about being copyright striked. So I have no problem with Legal Bytes taking down her own video. It's her property. She can do as she says. And as long as she doesn't take down people's works that are transformative, she's in her right mind to do so. Then good for her. That's all for me, and bye.